This is Burlington, Vermont, where I live 8 months out of the year, right here in this house. My name is Jacob Damore, but some people call me Jazz Hands because I have an incurable disease where my hands spontaneously shake harder than Michael J. Fox post-1990s. But I've never let that get in the way, and I've always taken pride in the fact that I'm able to be mediocre at a number of skills, from gaming to drawing to even something like tennis. Every single one of these things takes an absurd amount of focus and drive to master, but I never said anything about mastering. All I care about is being better than at least one person. To be more specific, this person, because he is literally the worst. But more on that later. The point is, I recently came into possession of this, a piano keyboard, and I thought, I might as well give it a shot. So my goal was to learn to play the piano, but I know my limits. There's no way I'd ever be good enough to play more than one song after just a few months. That meant I needed to pick the right song, something catchy, timeless, and above all, inspirational. The man standing before you now is known as Tiny Tim, and the angelic tune he's playing is called Living in the Sunlight. The song holds a special place in my heart, as well as the hearts of many boys and girls throughout the world, for being featured in the very first episode of SpongeBob SquarePants, when SpongeBob is faced with the challenge of feeding dozens of smelly anchovies. So the matter of the song was dealt with. Now, I just needed to start playing. So I thought I would start out by giving a basic overview of the piano. First thing you're going to want to do is clean off the top of it. And there we go. Okay, now we're ready to go ahead and open it up here. Whoops. This is a common problem with pianos when they go unused. These ducks will make their way in and nest. What you're going to want to do is just gently move them to a new home. Alright, now that those pesky ducks are out of the way, let's continue. I like to think of the piano like the lower half of someone's face. Here we have the teeth, and these are the cavities because who actually flosses these days? Down here we have these three things that I call the goatee because it kind of looks like a goatee made out of just 3 long hairs because this particular piano doesn't have a great growth pattern. By the by, you can just ignore this duct tape, it's purely optional for decorative purposes. And there you go, that's everything you need to know. Now you can start smashing those keys like a real champion. Okay, so this is check-in number 1. I can officially say that I know how to do almost nothing. At this point, I'm able to do a C scale, and that is it. I've also come to the conclusion that it is a waste of my time to memorize the keys, so I've come up with a solution. So the solution I came up with involves this tape and this Sharpie. So basically, what I'm going to do is write the letter that corresponds to the key on a piece of tape and then stick it to the key. Okay, so here we have the finished product. This is going to really help me cheat my way to playing this song. You may notice that I had to do the letters twice. Well, that's just because I'm a constant disappointment to myself, and I messed it up the first time. Oh, also I didn't finish. That's because I'm lazy and a failure. Clearly things were going well, but I couldn't help but feel like I wasn't fully into it, so I decided I needed a little encouragement. So I returned to my hometown of Bennington, Vermont, in order to talk to some of my closest friends and ask them for their opinions on my piano adventure. So, you should know that I'm currently on a quest to learn how to play a song on the piano.
That's great. What song?
Living in the Sunlight by Tiny Tim. Have you heard it?
Yep.
What do you think of that?
It's an okay song to learn.
Do you think it's possible to learn?
Yeah.
Okay. If I were to learn this song on the piano, what do you think that would do for me?
Make you better at the piano.
Anything else?
No.
You don't think people that play instruments are cooler than people that don't?
Sure, I guess.
Okay. So, hypothetically, if I were able to play the piano, that would make me more attractive than someone that doesn't play the piano.
No.
But if someone's cooler for playing the piano, certainly coolness has some association with attractiveness.
I don't know.
But I did know, and it became clear that I was going to have to get a second opinion. Unfortunately, I'm terrified of the prospect of talking to women, so I had to go with the next best thing, which unfortunately also happens to be one of the worst people on the planet. I'm under the impression that you are a gay man.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yes.
Well, then I guess what kind of men are you interested in?
Chris Hemsworth. Essentially.
So you like rippling muscle
Yeah.
men. Wow, how incredibly shallow. Does his acting at all add to that, to his attractiveness?
I guess. He seems pretty confident.
So then in that sense you would say someone with skills is more attractive.
You can be, yeah.
Just off the top of your head, what are some skills that make people more attractive?
Woodworking. I think that's pretty cool.
Okay. Anything else?
Quilting and sewing, pretty great. You can make a mean dress.
I don't care what people do on their free time, as long as you're not a man that sews your own dresses to then wear. What about, hypothetically, if someone were able to play an instrument, let's say the piano.
Uh-huh.
Okay, maybe at least try to act interested. What would that do for them?
It depends on how good they are.
They're really good.
So yeah, probably.
So, if I were really good,
Uh-huh.
what would that do for me?
Very little.
Let's pretend you're not biased.
Okay.
You don't know who I am.
Okay.
I'm just some random, already really attractive man.
Okay.
You didn't have to laugh in my face. And you find out that guy can play the piano.
Do I get to see you play the piano?
Does that, rock your jimmies a little bit, or?
Do I watch you play the piano?
I mean...
Just hearing it wouldn't do it anything.
Maybe if you, buy me a coffee or something first.
See? I'm going for full hipster here. I guess.
And that was all I needed to prove my hypothesis. Now I could head back to Burlington and continue to play the piano. There was only one problem, and that was procrastination. My deadline was coming up fast, and I had procrastinated so much that I managed to forget everything I'd learned. Luckily, I still had a trump card, and that trump card was having someone else do it for me and do it better.